So yeah, very happy to do this masterclass with Damien today. So the topic is really close to my heart. It's about community engagement for carbon projects, and we're gonna first of all, why are we talking about that, and then how can we do community engagement with some real world example from the field. And yeah, to start, maybe just introducing ourselves. So I'm Camille. I've been working with Kinome for the past 7 years. I'm usually based in Mexico and supervising our activities in Latin America. And also at a global scope, I work with the private sector to design and implement new projects. And I'm very happy to do this masterclass with Damien.
Hello everyone, I'm Damien Kuhn. I'm leading the forestry team at Terraformation. I'm a forester and agronomist, and I'm certified in ethical leadership. I have about 18 years of experience working with communities, government, private sector, and science to design and implement forestry projects. And my role at Terraformation is to build a partnership with local team in the tropic to design and implement carbon forestry restoration projects and to bring training, capacity building to this team. I'm based in Togo, West Africa, and happy to be with you today.
Thanks, Damien. So just very in a nutshell, a few words about Kinome. So Kinome is a social business founded by Nicolas Metro in 2005, and we are working in Europe, Africa, and Latin America to find and implement solutions that are protecting nature while improving the daily life of people. So to change the way we see nature, not as like just a resource, but more as a development solution. So people have an interest in protecting nature. So for that, we do applied research, consulting, working both with private companies and institutions, like the World Bank, UNDP. Also, on some specific topic, we implement projects ourselves. And last but not least, we do environmental education, working with children to plant trees so they can connect to their potential of a change actor. And we partner with Terraformation.
Yeah, Terraformation restores native forests to address climate change, providing forestry teams with training, technology, and funding for large-scale carbon-certified projects, with the goal to revitalize the ecosystem and enhance community climate resilience. Basically, we partner with local teams in the tropics and communities from day one of the project idea through the project design and implementation. Next slide, please. And our innovative approach is actually structured in an accelerator, the Sea2Carbon Forest Accelerator. During this 2 years program, we equip local teams with training, technology, access to capital. And it's training on restoration techniques, but also on carbon marketing and social impact and all the process needed for community engagement. We also provide feasibility studies to the team and the development of the full project until its certification by international standard and also its funding. Next slide, please. And Kinome and Terraformation decided to collaborate on the high-impact agroforestry project because we have complementary geographies and skill sets. Kinome is bringing his long and deep experience in social impact on agroforestry, and Terraformation brings its capacity to source, design, and bring a project to the carbon market. And we are now starting a common work together in Ghana for cocoa agroforestry project.
Yeah, that's exciting. And
Next slide,
Damien
please.
knows Kinome very well because you were the CEO of Kinome for 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah, that's it. Let's dive into the topic of our masterclass.
Yes.
Why integrating community engagement and social impact in your carbon projects? I will focus on three main reasons here. One is that community has the intimate knowledge of local dynamics, species, and traditional resource management. When we look at the projects in the world, there is more than 1/3 of the projects that are delayed or cancelled due to inadequate community engagement. And of course, by overlooking this expertise, we could lead to costly mistake or even failure of the project. This is then key really at the start, at the beginning of the project design, to involve communities by understanding in depth the needs of the communities and also the local dynamics. For example, why the forest was destroyed in the past in this area, what are the root causes of the deforestation, just to avoid, of course, any mistake with the new project. A second reason is the engagement and ownership of the local communities, of course, ensure that the restored forests are sustainable over the long term. Coming from a survey from the Nature Conservancy, that it's the forestry projects involving communities are 70% more likely to remain functional and effective in the long term. It means that creating this common ground with the community is essential, understanding their needs, and then putting the right livelihood activities in place with them is key. Most of the time, it's not for the trees themselves that the community will engage deeply and sustainably. It's more for the ecosystem services that the tree will provide. For example, restoring a mangrove bring back fishes for the communities, and communities will be eager to start restoring mangrove to get more fish. Third main reason is that community development is essential to sustainably restore and perpetuate the forest. Again, if the project is just bringing trees, there is some risk of failure. But if the project is also bringing jobs, more fish or more honey, more income, more security on the long tenure, this will increase the chance of the success of the project. Next slide. I will illustrate with an example of a mangrove restoration project in Ghana. This project is a result of a partnership between 3 communities in the Keta Lagoon, Seawater Solution, Ghanaian organization, and the Terraformation, the project developers. We started on the top left with first meetings with the communities. The goal of this first consultation are very important, is where we talk for the first time about the vision, their vision of the wetlands. And it's usually in this type of meeting that the desire for better future, better job, more fish for most of the fishermen is emerging. And this is usually the starting point of the project. Then, after quite several consultation meetings, we've been working together on the global diagnosis to understand better why there is a huge rate of mangrove deforestation, why 25% of the mangrove has been deforested over the last 30 years. And this work involves some community mapping. For example, on the top right of the screen, we have an output of mapping usage of the resources by the communities done by the community leader. We prioritize the expected output of the project, which is well known in the world of designing project as a theory of change. It's what the project aims to change, which situation would change the project would like to bring. And then this is this approach really based on the consultation and building together the project leads to the project strategy approach. And with our example, it's where we develop the three components of the project with a strong component for community-based aquaculture, which is one of the key needs of the communities because they're all fishermen and they see all the depletion of the fishes resources in their neighborhood, as well as, for example, a strong land securing approach was also expressed by the community during this workshop. Next slide, please. All the process of this community engagement during the design process of the project is known as the FPIC process. I will give you three main lesson learned. There is probably much more, and we can discuss about them later. But one is that this community engagement requires time. In Ghana, for example, the process took place over more than 12 months and is still ongoing. An important tip here is that it's important to record each step of the consultation, to note and celebrate also each milestone, such as the signing of an agreement, for example, with one communities or with one partner, or a workshop that bring together all the stakeholders. This is some key milestone of a project design. And this required, of course, the ability of the project management team to build a unit around a common vision, basically what the project wants to create, which impact the project wants to create. This is basically the common vision that federates all the stakeholders. Number two, it's definitely the community engagement helps to avoid mistakes. One example with the same project, the deep engagement with one of the community helped us to understand that the conflict actually was rooted in the community. And after many consultation and quite deep investigation, the decision was to work on resolving the conflict first, and after engage later in the process this community when the conflict will be resolved. This was actually a disappointment and a strong, I would say, adaptation of our strategy, because this community was supposed to be the first to restore the wetland and to demonstrate to others also. Then we adapted our strategy, and that's one of the key lesson learned, adaptation with the ongoing learnings from the community engagement. And finally, community engagement need to manage short-term, medium-term, and long-term benefit for the community. And I will explain this more into detail in a few minutes in the next section. Over to you, Camille.
Yeah, maybe before moving on, one question that we've been asked from founders or partners is if I'm in the shoes of a private investor or project developer, why should I put my money in actions that are the responsibility of local institutions or local governments? You mentioned, for example, land tenure. I feel as a private stakeholder, this is out of my scope of responsibility.
Good question. In theory, you are right. It's more the role of the states or the local government or other institution to finance this type of activities, or land tenure security, or health center, or even a school. In practice, as we often work with remote communities in developing countries, the government does not have the means to address all these needs at the same time. Then this often means leaving the communities without this equipment of this land secured. And the right approach really is to leverage your investment as a private investor by also engaging additional public capital for this type of activity. For this, for example, that's what we are currently achieving in Ghana with additional funding from USAID.
Thanks. Yeah, that's great, and congratulations on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, you mentioned the lesson learned, the short, medium, and long term. So this is also something that we can touch on a bit later on. And going to the how, so you start explaining the why. Why is it so key to, from day one, start working with the community? And how do you do it? You gave already some practical, like concrete examples. Just to take a step back, maybe we can start with the first step that you mentioned is to map the stakeholders, like know who is on your landscape, the different stakeholders, local communities you mentioned a couple times, and also understand other initiatives on in the area, like you are starting to work with USAID, so leveraging on existing dynamics and understanding yeah, all those different stakeholders, how do they interact with each other, from the private sector to public sectors, local communities, different services, and also other projects or programs implemented by developing agencies. Understanding who is working on this landscape and what are the link between each other, and also how do they exchange knowledge and other type of exchanges. This is something that really key, understanding who are you working with. And another things that you mentioned is to understand the real needs of the local community, like taking this time to help them express those needs. At Kinome, there's one tool that we use on a daily basis, which is called the 7 Fundamental and Universal Needs of Human Being. It's developed by Edelgut, the founder of Conscious Evolution Institute. And it's basically that all human beings need those 7 needs: health, physical health, mental health, security, whether it is financial security, physical security, balance and well-being, respect for individuals, for life in general. So it includes also the respect of the environment, access to knowledge and quality information, inclusions, feeling included in the community, feeling included in society in general, and also to include in the project, for example, all the parameters, and self-realization. So those needs are not in a hierarchy, like they interact between each other, within each other, and also they have to be considered at the same time. And this, as they are universal, this is a basis of creating a common ground. So as a local community, I need security, I need to improve my income. And also an investor, I also need security, I need to de-risk my investment. So understanding the needs of different stakeholders and finding a common ground to like create this common vision that you mentioned as well, Damien, as the basis for the project strategy. So yeah, maybe one question here for you, Damien, is as a as a founder or project developer, how do you prioritize? I guess when you talk with the community, they express a lot of needs. How do you prioritize the social actions or the actions with the community that you're gonna implement?
Yep. The social action, I think, must be prioritized by the community, and they also must respect some criteria, such as being aligned with the local development strategy of the carried out by the local government and also by the national government, and also be linked to the forest restoration and conservation initiative. For example, if the committee decides to finance the study of a young people from the village, it must be clearly communicated that this is made possible thanks to the restoration of the forest. And yeah, and I will also come back to when you express the fundamental needs. One of them is security. We are being we received a lot of feedback by the communities about their desire to have more security on their land. And wetlands are not giving a lot of value, monetary value from agriculture because it's selling water. And then the communities cannot afford to pay the land restoration process. But they were really expressing a lot that they want to secure. They see a lot of other activities coming, like mining, salt mining, and different type of activities, and they felt insecure not having this land restoration. Then we added this, and we finance the process of registering the land on behalf of the committee themselves, of course, not on the name of Terraformation, not on the name of the local partner. That we support financially and with technical support the committee to get right land title and then to feel more secure about their land.
Yes, this is the project you are carrying in Ghana. Can you explain us how did you do from day one to engage with local community and also secure this strategy?
Yeah. Yeah, there is 4 main ways to engage communities in the short, medium, and long term for the sustainable commitment and engagement of the community. One, I already focused on this a few minutes ago. It's on the engagement in the project design. Then how are we doing this is through a focus group, meeting, consultation, and also workshop, gathering the community, but also the other stakeholders involved in the landscape. This is during the project design. Then the 3 other are more in the project's implementation. The goal in the project implementation is really to manage short-term, medium-term, and long-term benefits. Short-term, it's how we engage local communities in the project implementation. With job creation, it's one of the first benefits that are mentioned by the communities. Job creation for nursery management, but also for planting. It's really key to also engage local staff in the project management team, because they have, of course, a huge knowledge and traditional knowledge, and also because it's providing a long-term job for them. Through trainings, capacity buildings, and also through land lease and providing cash also for the communities who own the land. In the midterm benefits are linked to how we implement sustainable revenue and how we created sustainable revenue through small-scale businesses. It's where we will invest in community-based aquaculture, in honey production, saline aquaculture, and it's also the land lease and cash income over the 40 years for the communities who own the land. These activities are usually identified with the communities, and there is another factor that I didn't mention earlier, of course, is also needs to match the needs of the communities also with the expertise of the operator or the project team that will operate the team. That's, of course, one key criteria for implementing these livelihood activities. And lastly, the more long-term benefits, we decided to create community trust funds. This is basically revenue coming from the carbon revenue generated by the project to finance collective action. The governance of the trust fund, the goal is really that the decision is made by the communities themselves. The role of our partners, local partners, Seawater Solution, is really to animate the decision-making process and to also follow up that the investment are done in the proper way, on time, for the community. And this is an incentive. It's more linked also with the revenue from the carbon credits. It's not the case of the three first components, but the third component is really linked with carbon income of the project. And it's coming over the 40 years of the project implementation. Next.
Thank you for yes.
This is what I said with number for financial. The project will overall is expected to generate about $30 million US, and there is 21.5 million staying in Ghana. And among this money, 11 million will finance the social benefits. Then and in social benefits, we are not included the, I would say, non-social project costs, more the nursery equipment are not included in this 11 million. That's an example of how we design and the importance of the social benefits in the budget and in the success of the project. Next slide, please.
Yeah, this is a transition to what you said, like this need to think and work long term, and because you at the end of the day we are working with people, with human, and we know that it requires time and work and investment as well to change practices, to start also being step by step building trust and have as a key success factor in every project, and especially in the nature-based solution project and the carbon project, how we can put more emphasis on the what we call the human factor, and understanding the local governance, and also working with local communities to empower them. And we know that from experience, it's not gonna happen overnight. I don't know, Damien, how many meetings have you done with or just in the design phase with for this mangrove project? But I guess it's quite
Probably around
time consuming.
100. Yeah, with all the three communities, probably around 100. Yeah, the local team did most of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really maybe considered time consuming, but it's really key for the success of the project. And what we observe that sometimes, most of the time actually, this line in the Excel about community engagement and creating lasting social impact is a bit low compared to other activities. But if it's not a priority, then it's for sure a risk for the project, and probably also one fail factor. So yeah, hence the need of working at understanding better the needs of the local communities, and also empowering them to be key actors in the success of the project. And maybe to take an example of a project Kinome has been implementing since 2013 in Togo. It's not a carbon project per se, even if it has a carbon component, but it's not like registered yet. And we're gonna see as well why. But just to showcase how important it has been from day one to invest in the human factor. So just to give you a context, this in Togo there is a lot of malnutrition, especially for children, and also a lot of deforestation. And when Kinome started working in the area, we saw like there was moringa. This I don't know if you know this tree, but it's called also the tree of life or the miracle tree because it's really high in nutrients, in vitamins, in minerals, in protein as well. So it's highly nutritious for human consumption, but also for feeding cattle, and it has like many other uses. And the local community were producing it. There was a small farmer association, but at really like low scale and also with bad quality, and they were not really living out of it. But there was a need as well in the school canteen for improving the children nutrition. So what we start doing is to understand like the value chain, who are the different stakeholders. So the farmers, the women association who are transforming the leaf of the moringa into powder, so it can be exported to the capital or also abroad, or part of it integrated in local diets, and gathering everybody around the table and saying, okay, this is not working, and just observing how they interact with each other, like the women saying the buyer is stealing us because he's selling our moringa way more expensive in the capital, and the buyer not understanding that the women cannot really live decently with their income. So it was a problem to problem communication, and by going back to, okay, what are your needs and what do you want? What's your vision for your country, for your territory? And creating this common ground thanks to the vision. So everybody agrees that they want moringa to be a development solution and be a source of nutrient for their country, for their community, and even for the whole country. So I think this common dream, then they start opening and saying, okay, as a buyer, I accept to increase a bit my price so the local women will live better, but I need this quality, otherwise I cannot sell my product. And so we start identifying different actions, and they like all together work to implement this roadmap. And after 10 years of this project, we saw really a change. First of all, more trust within the value chain, and better income for the women association, for the farmers, also better quality. Now this product is by the Red Cross. It's integrated into school canteen, also sold abroad in New York to some buyer. Productivity has increased, so more volume, more quality. 2 years ago, the cooperative also managed to get organic and fair trade and food safety certifications. And yeah, more children fed thanks to this moringa, and a lot of trainings and association joined the project. And also we added a environmental component with carbon sequestration and tree planting. I think this landscape approach. So it has been a lot of investment in, same as Damien said, like having many workshops, talking with the community, but also providing training and creating this trust. It takes time, but it's key for the project success. Yeah, as a success factors that we discussed, it's having a good understanding of the local dynamics with a good mapping, and also the local governance. What are the power games in place, and who can be like a facilitator for your project? Drawing a good baseline, understanding the local culture, level of understanding of the project of the community, and also having a special care for minorities and more vulnerable populations, women, youth, indigenous people. And one key success factor is the understanding if we speak about a value chain project, then securing access to markets. This is a setback we had for the Moringa project, for example. It's still hard to scale because of the market component. And on the implementation, Damien, you mentioned having a trusted local partner. So making sure that the project is operated by somebody who is from the area and understand well those dynamics. A clear logical framework. This is also a development word associated with the theory of change. And yeah, having this constant community engagement discussions and making them really key stakeholders of the project. The project should have a positive impact on their daily life, and they should be key stakeholders in the implementation as well. Yes, so now it's we have 20 minutes to open the discussion. Start with your questions. I will stop sharing my screen. I think we had quite a few questions in the chat. Maybe we can start from there. So I see the first question here. Diamondra, if you want to explain your question, otherwise I can just read it. Can you please give examples of local dynamics to be considered? Damien, do you want to take this one?
Yes. I will keep the example with the Ghana project, not to lose you with many examples, but for example, what is really shocking when you enter the Keta Lagoon is the mangrove wood market, and there's a lot of mangrove cuts for firewood and access to to the market for fuel wood. 25% of the total mangrove area has been deforested recently. It means that this is a dynamic. When without judgment, when we have discussion with the landowners, with the community, we understand that the landowner, for example, receive $5 per acre for the cutting of the mangrove. You can say it's not a lot at all, but it's also really important for them to have cash money to sustain their daily needs. And then this information and sharing with this figure help also the project design team to better build the project, to better assess also the amount for the land lease to be given to be paid to the landowner. Basically, this is a concept of opportunity cost used by the economists, but it's how we also assess to give, of course, them more benefit than just cutting. And lastly, also it's where the project team decided to include also trees for wood production to avoid the cutting and to avoid the cutting of the mangrove, and to answer also the need of fuel wood to fish, for the fish, to smoke the fish. And that's one of the examples.
Thank you, Damien. Hope it answers the question. I guess yes. Maybe we can move, because there are quite many questions. We can move to the next one. So I think it's again on the mangrove project. What kind of challenges do you find working in mangrove projects, especially with reforestation, community participation, and how do you measure impact indicators? So maybe we can start with the challenges.
Challenges with reforestation, community participation, and how to measure impact indicator.
Yes.
I mean, challenges is also how the timing of the project design. I said as a lesson learned that time is key, But to make the project design properly, in addition to the community engagement, there is also quite a lot of technical study to do, find the right species, the right soil, and this is taking several months. In Ghana, we needed more than 15 months for the full design. This is also a long time for the communities, and expectation management is really one of the main challenge. And it's a bit of double blind, as you said, because we need to involve them since the beginning, because it's so useful for the right design of the project. But the full design up to the certification and funding is also quite a long journey. And sometimes it's not understood at the beginning, also from the local communities. And it's quite a long time starting, the first concrete activity on the field. And I would say it's one of the key challenges we are facing.
Thank you, Damien. Yeah, I guess managing community expectations is something that sometimes like founders or investors are afraid of. And yeah, have you encountered any like for example, when you said like you decided not to work with this community because of the current conflicts, how did you manage? Because I guess they had expectations of starting working with the project, or at least part of the community. How did you communicate that with them, or how did you manage the expectation they might had?
Be as transparent as possible about the process and the how the project is financed, meaning that there is quite a lot of steps and milestones, and the funding needs to be done in this new carbon market, which is also a bit unsecured. And then explaining with a lot of pedagogy how it works, how long it will take, and the different milestones is key. For example, one of the first things an investor is asking is, can you show us the land agreement with the community? Having a land agreement with the community means that we already have done all the steps I just described, building the vision of the project, agreed, building trust, and then it's this only first thing is taking several months to do. Then it's really a matter of explaining and be fully transparent.
And yeah, as you mentioned, trust. Sophie just asked this. How do you recommend to build trust with the communities as foreigners?
The local team is mostly a Ghanaian team. Then it's not even if Terraformation is a US-based entity, but we have also a local team. We are just explaining how complementary we are. Then we are basically able to provide some skills to design the project. Then our partners or community are not able to do, but there are, of course, other very useful skills. And it's part of the trust building is explaining who is bringing what and why each entity, each partner is very useful for the success of the project. As a foreigner, we are building some technical expertise, also some facilitation to the social process. And we have also good knowledge of the carbon markets, having people in the main markets, US, Europe, and Asia. And it's quite easy to understand for communities that they don't have the capacity yet to go to this market alone. And that's why we are partnering to make this project and funding a success.
Yeah, thank you for that. Another question by Rens is that generally communities are formed by actors that might have some levels of conflicting interests. And how do you choose the actors that you include in the community? When we speak about community, actually, what does that mean? And how do you choose the way decisions are taken within a community?
Yeah, then by community, I mean the people, mostly the villagers living around the reforestation site. It's usually in the case of the Keta Lagoon in Ghana, it's head of the community, head of clan, who is also the landowner. Then it's family-owned land. Then the communities in this specific case is yeah, all the villagers in this family. It's a very large family living together around the land that will be restored. How we choose? It's actually not a single way choice. We need to choose both. I mean, the community also first need to have a wish and a desire to restore the land. Then, I mean, the first step to build the common ground is based on this wish of the community and the landowner, head of the clan, to restore the land. And then, as I explained you with one example, for example, we work with one community with a conflict that we were thinking not so deep at the beginning, and after a lot of community engagement, we just agreed and discussed that it's better for the community to first solve this conflict within the community before starting this bold project. Then that's one example to show that we didn't choose with a common agreement to work with this specific community in priority because of a conflict to be solved first.
Yeah, and also it makes me think about one project we worked together on a couple of years ago in Djibouti with Damien. It was a design of the project for the JEF. And yeah, sometimes defining the community is not as straightforward as in your example. It was with local farmers and also nomadic populations. So yeah, how do you understand the local dynamics? I think here it was really important to understand the different of lifestyle, culture, background, and to make sure that both communities, nomadic and farmers, are integrated into the project, and that creating this common ground and the integrate also the different decision channels for both communities. Another question here is how do you overcome the problem of interruption from the regulations? Or do you have ever encountered the bad policies in your area, the fees and some issues of compliance and too much protocols?
Yes. How to answer? First, in Ghana, this is one of the pioneer projects that want to work with carbon projects. Then they have quite a clear regulation and a clear guideline for the project developer. That's really one positive strength from the government of Ghana. Having said that, there is a lot among the stakeholders. Of course, the government is key. And then it's important also to have a lot of consultation with them and to build a partnership for implementation of the project. These type of processes can take a lot of time. And this is, you are right, a lot of bureaucracy on processes. And sometimes also not clear ownership between the different governmental entities. And that's definitely one of the main challenge also to develop projects. In addition to that, there is also regulation to get water permits, land permits. All this regulation needs to do environmental impact assessment at the beginning of the project. then this is also a regulation that we, of course, are taken into account and applying also. This is overall good and positive to have this type of regulation, of course, to also bring clarity. But we need to have in mind that it's requiring more time also. First, to understand correctly the regulation, and then to implement it. That's important. Just to compare with other countries, there is a lot of movement in many countries in the world now about carbon regulation to attract carbon project developer, and with different philosophy in this regulation. Then it's really important to have a deep and close understanding and presence close to the government to really understand. In many countries, these regulations are not yet stable. It's still under thinking, meaning that it's also a risk for the project developer to have specific rules coming in 1 or 2 years that can make the project not viable at the end.
And another question, which is can be also partially linked to regulation, is about benefit sharing. It's actually some topic we discussed when we were preparing this masterclass with Damien. It's how do you decide on the benefit sharing? So communities and authorities at different level always expect direct funding when we talk about carbon projects. How do you manage this?
At Terraformation, we don't have a specific number before starting a project. It's really tailor-made, just because it depends really on the strategy of intervention of the project. We are committed to give the majority to the local operator and including the communities and landowner. With the example of Ghana, we have a commitment to give at least 40% of, as you said in my chart, 40% of the benefits to directly to the communities. But it could be more in another context with another type of project intervention. It could be also sometimes less if, for example, there is some high cost in some project cost, like some restoration practice can be more expensive. Then we need to invest more in this type of project. It's interesting to see that, for example, Plan Vivo is giving a number, 60% of the proceed of the carbon revenue should go to the community. I think it's good because it's setting a high bar, but on the other hand, it can exclude some projects because there is also high cost on other type of activities. And it could also exclude some countries, because some countries in their regulation also put benefit sharing in place. For example, some country decided that at least 40% of the carbon revenue should go to the communities. Then it could be not aligned between the requirements of the national regulation and the requirement of the international standard. Then, in a nutshell, we need to be bold and maximize this number. But if we set a specific number and then the project is not viable because of that, it's also a pity that we cannot make the project happen. Then needs to be tailor-made for each project.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. So from Anna Maria, it is known that this process may not be linear and often have setbacks due to situations of social cultural conflicts within the community, which may affect the development of activities. And how do you handle that with the community and partners?
Okay, the fact that it's non-linear and we can have different challenges overcoming.
Yeah, I guess external factors as well that you cannot really foresee all the time.
Okay. Good question, because this type of challenge arrived every week or every day. That again, I think it's really a matter of full transparency. Give you an example to illustrate. We plan everything in Ghana to start the planting in beginning of July. You know, everything was really, everybody in the starting block committee were trained, but we were still waiting on the environmental permits to be able to legally start the operation. Then the project was delayed by almost 1 month with the planting, and it has a lot of consequences, of course, for the committees first, because they also have other activities to do, farming, and they need to plan their activities. Also for the project team, of course, and for the budget of the project. And this needs a lot of discussion and explanation also to explain why it's really legally important to wait for this permit to be able to start, even if all the other aspects are ready to go. And a lot of understanding and again, no judgments with all the parties involved in the project implementation. Each of the parties have their interest and there are also their own timelines. And if one is taking a bit more time, need to be discussed in full transparency.
Yeah, I guess it's also a bit a change in mindsets to have a more long-term approach and not jeopardizing the trust you built with a partner just for like some administrative delay and really create this more global understanding of each other. I think time's up. Thank you so much, Damien, and everybody for attending today and the very interesting questions. And thanks for bringing, Damien, your concrete examples from the Mangrove Project. Wishing you all the best success for this project. And we will provide the slides and also the recording. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us if you have further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Happy to connect with you later.
Yeah, you will have our emails. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.